Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Today we're plunging headfirst into a story that, well, it really shook the rugby world. A pretty high-stakes claim from that unforgettable 2021 British and Irish Lions tour.
Yeah, it involves that fiery exchange, doesn't it, between two absolute giants of the game, Rassie Erasmus, the Springboks boss, and Warren Gatland, the Lions head coach at the time.
Exactly. So our mission here in this deep dive is to sort of cut through all the noise, unpack the accusations, the strong denials, and really figure out what this whole saga tells us about the spirit of elite rugby.
That's the plan. We're basically taking all the information, all the pieces from the source material, and laying them out for you. So you get a clear picture of what happened, why it mattered so much, and, the different ways people saw it.
Yeah, understanding those pressures at the top level.
Precisely. It's all about appreciating that intensity.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want to stay across all the big tackles, the amazing tries, and these kinds of crucial, sometimes dramatic discussions in rugby, make sure you hit subscribe for Rugby Obsession. You really don't want to miss these deep dives.
Definitely worth it.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack this. It all starts, like we said, during that 2021 Lions tour. Warren Gatland, writing in his Telegraph column, he laid out some pretty astonishing claims.
Yeah, claims that really caused a stir. He detailed the suspicions that he and his coaching team apparently had throughout that whole very intense series.
And the main accusation, the core of it, was pretty dramatic, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. He alleged the Springboks had actually rented a house, one with a clear view overlooking the Lions' training ground.
Wow.
And not just that, but they supposedly put up a long lens camera there, specifically to spy on the Lions sessions. It sounds a bit like a spy movie plot, really.
It really does. Cold War stuff. The sheer nerve of it, if it's true.
Mm-hmm. Remarkable.
And Gatland, he didn't just leave it at vague feelings. He pointed to a specific moment where he felt like, okay, our suspicions are confirmed.
Right. That was during the first test, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. When the Springbok center, Lucanio Am, made this massive hit on Elliot Daly, a really significant tackle.
Almost like he knew what was coming.
That's what Gatland thought. He believed that moment, plus maybe how well the Boks were reading their plays defensively, it suggested they just had so much information on the Lions. An unfair edge, basically, gained from this alleged spying.
Yeah, it seemed to really cement his belief that something fishy was going on behind the scenes.
And he didn't stop there, did he? He brought up evidence.
That's right. Actual visual evidence, or what he claimed was evidence. He mentioned a photograph taken by a photographer during a match.
Okay.
And this photo showed Rassie Erasmus. Remember, he was acting as a water boy then.
Yeah, famously on the pitch.
Well, it showed him holding a piece of paper. And Gatland claimed that when they blew this picture up, digitally enlarged it. It allegedly showed some of the Lions' specific moves, their calls, written right there on the paper, with Erasmus standing right next to Faf de Klerk, the scrum half.
Whoa, okay, that's pretty specific. That adds a very concrete layer to it, doesn't it? Moves it beyond just a feeling.
Absolutely. It takes it from just suspicion to something you can supposedly see. Photographic evidence, potentially.
So imagine being the Lions then, feeling like you're constantly being watched. Gatland explained that because of these alleged observations, they felt they had to react.
What did they do?
They shifted their training, moved it indoors, into a gym, trying to, quote, negate the suspicion of being spied on.
Makes sense. Take away the line of sight.
Right. But Gatland said even after doing that, he still felt they were being filmed somehow, which just tells you how deep that distrust, maybe even paranoia, ran in their camp during that tour.
Yeah, that's immense pressure. Trying to prepare for a test match, thinking your every move is being watched, it's got to affect you psychologically.
Totally. It's not just about strategy anymore. It's mind games. Undermining confidence, maybe making you second-guess everything.
That constant feeling of surveillance, yeah, it would definitely mess with your mental prep. It could force you to play safer, maybe less creatively, just to keep things under wraps. That itself could be a factor, couldn't it? Whether the spying actually happened or not.
A huge factor. Now, okay, Gatland's claims were explosive, but Rassie Erasmus's response, just as forceful. You could really sense the frustration.
Yeah, he seemed like a properly frustrated man, especially after that South Africa win over Italy recently. He wasn't having any of it.
How did he put it?
He flat out dubbed Gatland's claim as pure hearsay. Just dismissed it completely. Not a careful denial, just nope, hearsay.
Right. And he'd already been pushing back on social media the day before, hadn't he?
Exactly. So this wasn't just a heat-of-the-moment thing after the Italy game. It was his consistent stance, very public, very direct.
And he really hammered it home post-match. He said, quote, "It must stop now." Pretty strong words.
Very strong. He seemed genuinely concerned about this kind of misinformation, these stories spreading. He said something like, if you were going to tell every story about every possible and unlikely thing that happened, there's going to be a lot of stories like this.
You could hear the exasperation there. Like he sees it as just baseless rumor-mongering taking off.
Absolutely. And his reasons, well, they seemed broader than just defending his own team. He mentioned the sport's reputation, said he doesn't want people thinking these sort of things actually happen behind the scenes.
Interesting. So protecting the game itself.
Seems like it. He acknowledged, that there are so many weird stories about coaches trying to outsmart each other. That's part of elite rugby, the gamesmanship.
Sure, the competitive edge.
But he called this specific claim nasty, said it creates awkwardness. Like, it crosses a line into something damaging, something that undermines respect between rivals.
So his bottom line was just, let's move it.
Pretty much. He finished by saying he'd like it to stop now and for us not to talk about it anymore. A really clear signal to drop it, get back to the rugby itself. Maybe feeling these claims just distract from actual competition and, sportsmanship.
Right, a call to focus on the game, not the off-field drama. So, stepping back from the he said, she said, what does this whole episode actually mean for rugby? What are the bigger implications here?
Well, it shines a light on that intense pressure cooker environment of top-level international rugby, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It raises that big question. How do accusations like these, whether they end up being true or not, how do they impact the integrity, the spirit of the game?
Yeah.
Because in that environment where everyone's looking for any tiny advantage, mind games, and suspicions, they can sprout up pretty easily. Coaches, players, they're pushed to find any edge. But where's the line?
Where is the line between just really detailed analysis and something, well, unethical?
Exactly. This whole thing forces us to think about that boundary. It's about the psychology, too. Even just the idea that someone might be cheating can destabilize a team, affect how fans see the game.
That's a really good point. And for you listening, what jumps out at you about all this? Have you seen similar things happen in other sports? Or even, I don't know, in business or other competitive areas?
Yeah, that drive to win.
The lengths people go to, and then the accusations that fly. It's not just rugby, is it? But it plays out so publicly here.
It really does. And it makes you think critically, right? We've got these two really strong opposing stories from the sources, Gatland's detailed claims, Erasmus's firm denials. What does that tell us about the sheer pressure at the very top?
That constant search for an edge.
Yeah, where every tiny gain matters. And maybe sometimes those lines between smart strategy, intense prep, and maybe dodgy ethics, they get really blurry. The fact these claims even exist says a lot about how cutthroat elite competition can be.
That tension between winning and fair play.
Constantly there.
Exactly. And look, if you're finding this Rugby Obsession deep dive interesting and you want more insights like this, more lively chats about the big issues in rugby, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession wherever you get your deep dives. We really aim to bring you the stories that matter.
Definitely do.
So just to quickly wrap up the core tension we've looked at. On one side, you've got Warren Gatland's detailed spying claims, the house, the camera, that photo of Erasmus with the paper allegedly showing Lions plays.
Very specific allegations.
And on the other side, Rassie Erasmus just firmly rejecting it all, calling it hearsay, nasty claims, and basically pleading for it all to just stop now.
Yeah. And this whole deep dive into that 2021 tour, it really shows more than just a spat between two coaches. It reveals the incredible passion, the incredibly high stakes at the very top of rugby union.
Leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
It does. It leaves us with a question, really, for you to ponder. How do teams balance that intense desire to win, that need to find every single advantage, with upholding the spirit of fair play? That spirit that's meant to be so central to rugby.
It's a tricky balance.
A very delicate one. And incidents like this really bring that tension right into the spotlight for everyone.
We would genuinely love to hear what you think about all this. What's your take on the claims, the counterclaims? Are tactics like these real or just suspected, part of the game? Or do they cross a fundamental line? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely share your views.
And for more deep dives into the world of rugby, to stay right on top of every scrum, every try, every big moment, please remember to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. Your support is what lets us keep bringing you these essential insights.
It really helps.
Thank you so much for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you joining us for our next episode.